Hello and welcome to a very special deep dive right here on Draw Zone. We're about to plunge headfirst, really, into the fascinating, often frustrating, and let's be honest, always exhilarating world of Formula One racing. Our mission today. To pull some insights from a recent really candid discussion about, well, the raw realities, the technical glitches, and even those curious superstitions that seem to swirl around a Grand Prix weekend, we want to give you, our listener, a bit of a shortcut to being truly well-informed about all that hidden drama behind the speed.
Indeed. And the source material we're looking at today, it offers a truly unique kind of behind-the-scenes look at what it really means to be, a top driver or a team striving for absolute perfection in F1. We'll be exploring that razor-thin line between pure skill, strategic genius, and sometimes just sheer circumstance. So what's truly fascinating, I think, is how seemingly small incidents can just snowball, can't they? They end up having these monumental impacts that shape not just one race, but reputations and, entire championship battles.
Exactly. And for those of you who follow F1 closely, you'll know exactly what we mean when we talk about the curse of Sundays for some of the sport's biggest names. You know, those race days, where everything just seems to conspire against one particular driver. It's almost inexplicable sometimes what happens when those lights go out. So, yeah, let's unpack this a bit and try to figure out what's really going on. Okay, so our source material, it brings up this really intriguing concept of a Sunday curse, and it mentions it particularly when it comes to Spanish drivers. Carlos Sainz being, a prime example right now. It's described as almost paranormal, this consistent run of bad luck just on race days. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is it just a rough patch, or is there maybe a pattern here that's, deeper than just coincidence?
Well, what's particularly striking about Carlos Sainz's situation, and this really puts it into perspective, is that he's currently endured the longest consecutive streak of races without scoring points in his entire career. Just think about that for a second. And this isn't simply about a car that lacks pace, because, as our source highlights, in almost every single one of these races, he's actually put himself in a position to score a pretty good handful of points. Yet, consistently, something happens. It's this relentless chain of events that has just plagued his Sundays.
And it's exactly those something happens moments that are so difficult to stomach, isn't it? Both for him, the driver, and for the fans watching. Let's look at a couple of recent examples the source highlighted. Remember Austria earlier this season? Carlos was involved in that touch with Liam Lawson, which led to a sanction, and boom, race ruined. Or even more recently, Monza. That contact with Kevin Magnussen, referred to as Berman in our source, but we know who they mean. Carlos was clearly ahead. Magnussen touched him. And okay, Magnussen got sanctioned later, but it was way too late for Sainz by then. His race was fundamentally compromised. And this is the core frustration, right? He delivers strong qualifying performances, puts himself in prime positions, but then, as the source keeps saying, in all of them something happens. It's uncanny.
And this constant battle against external factors, and even when the underlying performance is undeniably there, it has profound implications for a driver's mindset. Can you imagine the psychological toll? You perform at your absolute peak during qualifying. You know you have the pace, only to have some race-ending incident that's largely, if not entirely, out of your control. How do you maintain consistency, mentally, physically, when you're always fighting against circumstances that just seem to, conspire against you? This isn't just about bad luck, is it? It really exposes the incredibly fragile ecosystem of F1, where just one single uncontrollable variable can completely nullify peak performance. It proves that even in this highly controlled environment, chaos can still reign supreme sometimes.
That's a really powerful observation, yeah. And Sainz isn't alone in this, is he? This battle against the odds.
Speaking of drivers under immense pressure, another F1 legend, Fernando Alonso. Despite his incredible skill and those, frankly, jaw-dropping qualifying performances we've all seen him pull out, he faces his own unique set of significant hurdles that seem to keep him from converting that raw speed into consistent points finishes.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights how multifaceted the challenges in F1 are, even for the most experienced guys out there. Our source points to a pretty stark statistic regarding Alonso. If you compare his qualifying classifications with his teammate Lance Stroll's, well, logically you'd expect a significant points advantage for Fernando, right? Given how consistently he's outperformed him on Saturdays. Yet, Stroll still holds a, 2-point lead? Which prompts that critical question the source asks. How is this possible? Especially given Alonso's undeniable raw speed. It speaks volumes, really, about the dual nature of Alonso's problems this season.
Right.
That's right. And the source breaks it down perfectly, I thought. It's kind of a combination of issues. One side is what they term bad strategy. So the team often makes what turns out to be the wrong call for him, or maybe the optimal strategy for Alonso just doesn't play out as planned on race day for whatever reason. Meanwhile, a seemingly less optimal strategy for his teammate might somehow just pay off. It's bizarre. But then there's the other side. Reliability failures. The source explicitly states that, say, a broken suspension arm like he had, that's not bad luck. Full stop. It's a reliability failure. So this isn't about pure chance. This is about the mechanical integrity of the car, isn't it? And the team's operational execution.
Precisely. And that distinction is absolutely crucial. It differentiates between, unforeseen circumstances and tangible issues within the car or how the team operates. And while, yes, some debate has popped up around Alonso's racing line, his trazada, the specific path he takes through a corner, the source is pretty quick to point out that, look, many other drivers use similar lines, and frankly, much worse things have been seen on track without nearly as much controversy. What's really telling, I think, is that despite his usually, very quiet demeanor, Alonso is starting to show signs of frustration. As the source puts it, he starts to release little things, little comments here and there. This signaled that rising tension, the immense pressure he's under when these recurring issues keep undermining his efforts. For a veteran like Alonso, whose composure is legendary, these public hints, they reveal just how deep that frustration must run. Makes you wonder what he's really thinking behind closed doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it gets really compelling, doesn't it? Because these individual struggles, they raise a broader question. Are these just isolated incidents, or do they actually point to more systemic challenges within the teams themselves? Williams, for instance, offers a really poignant example from our source material that illustrates this perfectly. Their story really shows how every tiny detail matters, not just for the drivers, but for the whole team ecosystem.
Oh, indeed. Williams faced some incredibly perplexing issues that really highlight the razor's edge F1 operates on. On Friday practice, they were, as the source says, like a shot, really impressive pace. But then come Saturday qualifying, problems crept in. And the specific technical detail highlighted in the source is fascinating. They struggled with heating the front tyre carcass quickly enough. Now, for those maybe less familiar, the carcass is the inner structure of the tyre, sort of beneath the tread. Getting that to the optimal temperature is just crucial for grip, absolutely vital, especially on tracks like Monza, which need those low downforce setups where tyres are inherently harder to warm up anyway. This really nuanced technicality just underscores a mind-boggling complexity of F1, doesn't it? Where a few degrees in tyre temperature can literally make or break your lap, your whole weekend.
And it wasn't just the technical side, right? There was a strategic misstep, too, which our source kind of lays bare. In qualifying, the team initially put in more fuel. The plan was, okay, do a second push lap to really get those tires hot. Makes sense. But then they changed their minds mid-session, so they ended up going for a crucial push lap, carrying too much fuel, which, is counterproductive. It just robs the car of precious tenths, maybe even hundredths of a second. These small things, or as the source nicely describes them, pequeñas cosas que no ayudan, these little things that just don't help, they can have race-deciding consequences. It turns what could have been a really strong weekend into a struggle, and then that manifests as bad fortune or those, encounters in the third phase with other drivers during the race itself.
And this really raises an important question, doesn't it? What's the breaking point for a team or a driver when these small things just accumulate relentlessly? The good thing about bad streaks, as our source rightly reminds us, is that sooner or later they end, hopefully. But the journey through them is incredibly taxing, financially, mentally, for everyone involved in a team. It truly shows that F1 isn't just about having the fastest car on paper. It's about perfect execution across, 1,000 tiny variables, week in, week out. What kind of strategic shifts, or maybe even cultural shifts, are needed to truly break these cycles? And what kind of pressure does that put on team leadership, knowing that even the smallest misstep can lead to a string of what just looks like bad luck from the outside?
That's a profound thought, yeah. Okay, so having looked at some of the external challenges that can plague drivers and teams, let's maybe shift focus a bit. Let's look at the internal strength required to navigate these turbulent F1 waters. We'll circle back to Carlos Sainz, but not for his Sunday curse this time. Let's talk about his incredible mental fortitude, his resilience, which the source really brings to light, because despite all these setbacks, his character, his attitude, it consistently seems to shine through.
Yeah, the insights from the interview discussed in our source, they reveal quite a lot about his state of mind, actually. Sainz is described as feeling dolido, which translates to hurt, maybe pained, by the current year. He acknowledges it's been a complicated season, no hiding from that. Yet, crucially, he remains illusionato. He's excited, hopeful for what's to come, especially looking ahead to next year. This blend of, honest disappointment, but also forward-looking optimism, and speaks volumes about his mental toughness.
It's a pretty remarkable trait, isn't it, for an elite athlete to maintain that kind of perspective amid such constant adversity? It really, really does. And our source traces his whole career journey, painting this vivid picture of a driver who has, well, seemingly always been remar contra el viento, rowing against the wind. Think about it. He struggled just to get into F1, even after winning a highly competitive junior series, only to find Max Verstappen already placed at Toro Rosso. Then he had to deal with the inherent difficulties within that whole Toro Rosso and Red Bull environment, which isn't easy. He moved to Renault, a team that, frankly, didn't even try to retain him years he himself apparently called gray or even ugly. Ouch.
Mm-hmm. And then came what the source calls his metamorphosis at McLaren, a real turning point. He recognized its potential, apparently making him wonder, as the source notes, how many times he had thought about what would have happened if he hadn't left. Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? He had the foresight, the intuition maybe, to realize McLaren in a year or two was going to win races. And this was even while making that massive career-defining move to Ferrari because, well, as he acknowledges, you can't say no to Ferrari. Not really. This whole trajectory is just full of uphill battles and pretty calculated risks. It speaks to an inherent drive, doesn't it? And an almost prescient understanding of the sport's dynamics.
And it's that incredible drive, that talent, and that strategic thinking that Ferrari has now, as the source puts it, revalued him for. It proves his immense contribution to the team, even though he's now moving on. And here's where it gets truly interesting, I think, connecting back to the fans and sort of lasting legacy of a driver. Our source shares a really powerful, specific anecdote about fan loyalty. Apparently, there was a young Ferrari fan at the team hotel, right? Amidst crowds clamoring for other star drivers, Leclerc, Hamilton.
Yeah.
And this young fan held up a banner, and it read, "We remember who gave us our last victory. Thank you, Carlos."
Wow. That moment, apparently witnessed firsthand by our source, is incredibly significant, isn't it? It's a testament not only to SAINZ'S direct impact on the team, bringing them that crucial, memorable victory, but also to the deep, almost tribal connection fans can have with their drivers. Even when a driver's departing, their achievements, their dedication, they leave this lasting legacy that really transcends team changes sometimes. It's a beautiful illustration, really, of the human element in F1. It shows that beyond all the cutting-edge tech and the multi-million-dollar contracts, there's this powerful emotional bond forged between drivers and their supporters. It's quite special.
What a deep dive that was into the human and mechanical drama of Formula One. We've seen how resilience, strategy, and even a persistent Sunday curse can shape the destinies of drivers and teams, all pulled from those candid insights shared right here on Drock's Zone.
Indeed. I think this raises a really important question for all of us watching, doesn't it? In a sport driven by such cutting-edge technology and, let's face it, immense human skill, how much room is truly left for pure chance or just bad luck? And how much is ultimately a reflection of deeper, maybe controllable issues within a team's strategy, or their reliability, or just their execution on the day? And crucially, which of these factors can teams and drivers actually control? It's something truly worth considering, maybe, as you watch the next race unfold.
That's a fantastic thought to leave you all with. So what does this all mean for you, our curious listener? Well, it's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that beneath all the glamour and the raw speed, every single F1 race weekend is this incredibly complex tapestry of engineering marvels, high-stakes strategy, and just pure human grit. We really hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective, maybe a few aha moments about the inner workings of F1. And that brings us to the conclusion of our F1 deep dive for today. We hope you've enjoyed these insights from the captivating, sometimes crazy world of Formula One. If you're as fascinated by these stories as we are, and you want to keep getting informed and entertained with unique perspectives like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button right here on the Dry Zone channel. We've got more deep dives coming your way, and honestly, we wouldn't want you to miss a single one.